Hi, and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your very busy evening to join me. I really do appreciate it. I am just fresh off gathering some talking points here as it concerns Sudan in particular. And, just a quick sort of like trigger warning, you feel me? In case you guys didn't know, these are all improv talks, and my name's Albert. I think I already said that. I just want to be real. And in case you guys didn't know, I'm a socialist. I'm very much into this whole, socialism idea. And I can't wait to get to the next video because that's when I'll actually, I think, be able to, be a little bit more humorous and so forth because we're talking about Sudan. And I just told you guys that I was collecting talking points or whatever. And, anytime I try to research the African continent, low key, part of me wants to, find a high rise building. Jesus, all deadpan, sorry, not good, and inappropriate jokes aside. I think any normal, rational person, would feel like that as it concerns just trying to understand the roots of conflicts in that particular area in the world, and it's no secret, right? Like it's no secret that I mean, since people can remember, I guess, or since the modern day narrative has acknowledged, right? Like the entire African continent has been oppressed and exploited. And friendly reminder, at the end of this century, Africa will have the largest economy on the surface of this planet. So just to do some forward thinking here, right? Right now, it may be that China, Russia, and good old America, and places that have huge sovereign wealth funds, all of which are included but not limited to countries like Switzerland and Finland, parts of the UAE and Dubai, other parts of that particular area, Egypt, the world is currently experiencing a mad Gilded Age, right? At the cost of the people that inhabit the African continent and the South American continent, right? I mean, that's kind of how imperialism and colonization has impacted the southern hemisphere, I guess, as it is or it should be described, right? And it's just frustrating that like minutes into this video, we're still really not anywhere. And I think it's important to note that when talking about Sudan, before it was split into what is now South Sudan and Sudan, they had gone through two civil wars in the past century, in the 20th century. The second one just ended in 2005, so at the beginning of this century, forgive me. But I did some quick math, right? And it seems as if that, like, for about 50 years or so out of the last 100, give or take, and that's not saying a lot because that's just, one or two generations removed. But they have been then fighting over Sharif law or, whatever kind of imperialist religion is there to conquer the local and native sovereign people to make sure that I don't know what it would be to make sure at this point, I guess, just to make sure that Africa and I guess South America and or any of the countries that lie within those continents have any sort of opportunity to live out their best lives. And what's weird also is that in South America there are a lot of socialist governments, something that modern day fascist capitalists are hell-bent on not seeing, and also in the African continent, you are dealing with dozens of different countries that are either under some kind of proxy war. And I think what's interesting is that in a place like Sudan, you had the private military force that Putin has. You know, these guys are doing business in Africa, right? You can't blame them, I guess. I mean, the United States of America is about to, you know, possibly start another world war with the whole invasion of Venezuela thing and, like Trump's Gaza plan, right? And those are, situations that also would, like any rational person would also, just feel a little less alive, you feel me? In that, like, our country, right, is hurting, all of these different things, and we're not even talking about that, and we still haven't even yet to begin to talk about, like, how in the past month and in the past 6 months, 150,000 people that we know about have died in Sudan. It's important to note that I had brought up all of those other instances because Sudan seems to be rich with a very violent history, right? And it's all at the cost of the people that live there, right? Not the people who immigrate there, not the people who have private interests there, not people who want to, gaslight or throw up false flags so that they can make these sovereign tribes and local populations fight amongst one another while, Richard boy is going out the back door with all the yayo. You feel me? I mean, it's a bad situation. The United Nations, in fact, has really been trying to bring attention to this whole thing, but I can't blame you guys. The United Nations is, a sad excuse for what should be a really good thing, right? I mean, think about that. Recently I had read something about how, there's never been anything like the United Nations. And in recorded modern history that we know of, there's never been a more peaceful time. I mean, because apparently the world is busy at work trying to make sure the European continent doesn't tear itself apart, while the rest of the world continues to suffer, in its own different kinds of ways. In particular, Sudan right now is hell on earth, all right? There are 500,000 people, and they're in Al-Fasha. Again, I'm a terrible dude when it comes to pronouncing things or pronouncing things. You see how I did that? I didn't mean to do that, but I just went with it because I was halfway through the word anyway. But, like, it's not a good thing that right now in the western region of Sudan and so in Darfur, right, that, like, there are 500,000 people that, like, can't leave their houses. You feel me? Like, think of COVID-19 or whatever, the pandemic. Only in this case, there's the real threat of you losing your life if you go out to get something from the store. If you go out to get something, you can't go to school, you can't go to work, and you kind of just are sitting there, literally waiting for some randos with fully automated weapons to knock on your door and finish you off. Like, how sad is that? Like, that's a pretty sad thing, I'd say. You feel me? I mean, like, Jesus Christ, things shouldn't be like that. And for whatever reason, there are always governments that assist and aid, unfortunately, in these very horrific things. And again, like, just to keep this in mind, y'all, like, this is, it shouldn't be happening because, like, these people are innocent. And if you've read any of the stories at all, and all it takes is a quick Google search to find out that what I'm saying is the very, like, dumbed down version of what's happening there. We're talking about mass unalivings, like old school, in lines of thousands of people. Okay, we're talking about, like, the unaliving of women and children. We're talking about a famine that will, in fact, unalive the remaining population that is currently going through these things, and all while the world is doing nothing to help them, right? And instead, we have bad actors who are supplying the RAF, right, the Rebels Alliance Force or whatever, the RFA or whatever, you feel me? They are giving these guys weapons. Keep in mind that, like, they should have no reason to be getting these weapons because they're not the Sudanese government. You feel me? And I guess that is kind of like the existential thing here, right? Is that, like, how do even modern wars, like, exist? You feel me? In a way that it's sort of like, if Sudan and the Sudanese people are already a sovereign country, then, like, who the F, is providing them with weapons to overthrow their government? You feel me? Because that's exactly what this is. It's nothing more than that. And I think in this particular case, Russia and the United Arab Emirates may have a lot to say about whatever they're believing and they're doing, right? For the first time in modern history, there were two different armies, private militia groups, fighting against each other in a different country. That's how messed up war has even become now. Like I just, can you imagine on American soil a Russian, like, populace and a German populace, like, private militias hired by their own sovereign governments fighting on our soil? Like, because that's what's happening in Sudan, all right? And not only is that a conflict of interest and a violation of all of the accords and all of the pacts and agreements that were made during the Geneva Convention, you feel me? But, like, I mean, it's a pretty blatant attack on all of us, you feel me? I mean, again, like, gaslighting the entire world is something that is uncommon, there aren't enough checks and balances, even amongst all the evil fascists out there, that kind of ensure that worldwide collusion of fascism isn't really something that's an easy thing to do, I mean, it still happens, but, they got to work real hard for it. But, like, nowadays, it's a scary time, you feel me? And I really think that we need to talk about Sudan, and that we need to do whatever we can. I mean, like, is there a way to, like, send these people money, you feel me? Like, isn't $1 here worth more there or something? Like, wouldn't this be a good case of just, like, I don't know, like, how do innocent people just chilling, you feel me, normal people like you and me, help out in these situations? I guess we really can't, and that sucks. But I think that we owe it to these victims that have no voice to, talk about these things, so that at the very least, when and if, we ever have any real power, we can do things to prevent these kinds of tragedies from occurring. Just because, like, that's a lot of lost human potential, and human capital is irreplaceable. And it's something that cannot be replaced by AI, or it's something that should not be sought out as a commodity. It's really something quite remarkable. There's not that many real remarkable things in the world, and human capital is one of them, right? And not human capital for profit, but inherently, yes, we are really all born with a we should be born with a very strong sense of empowerment. And that can only come from our government, okay? It can't come from a book. It can't come from a deity. It can't come from anything other than the government, And I think that's important to remember, because while, there are hundreds of thousands of people literally starving to death right now, there are millions of people all throughout the world living out their lives in a very peaceful way. And, like, we all need to kind of recognize that while that is true, it need not be true, because these people need not suffer. You feel me? Like, that's all that I'm saying. And I think that you're a monster if at all, in any way, you justify ethnic cleansing, or the G word that we're not allowed to say here on YouTube for some reason. You know what I mean? But, like, seriously. And I think that's because of the whole Trump Gaza thing or whatever, but who knows? Anyways, yeah, let's end this conversation. So, hey guys, I really appreciate you watching my videos and listening to me talk about this stuff, you know. It's not an easy thing to talk about, right? Just because, like, what rational person wants to talk about things that are incredibly violent and beyond morally irreprehensible, you feel me? Like, there's really no proper way to talk about that kind of stuff, you know? And moreover, there should be absolutely no practical way for that to occur in the modern age. But as we all unfortunately know, you know, when rich people are going through their drama, you feel me, that unfortunately, because of that, and only as a direct result of that, people that are just trying to figure out their place in the world end up becoming victims, and they become nameless victims. They become victims that no one ever talks about. They become victims that become only a conversational point, you know, in passing, as the history books sort of write out this bullshit, you feel me, that we're all watching, like, go down in real time in front of our very own eyes. And I think that I think all of us need a little help, you know? I think that, like, if I were from another planet, you feel me, and I was like, hey, you know, I think they all need a little help, right? Just because at the end of the day, the very people that this system works against are the very people that make this system work. You see what I'm saying? So, like, not only is there a strong sense of, you know, fulfilling our own destiny, you know, that whole manifest destiny kind of a thing, who would have known that it could actually come true in all of the worst ways possible, you feel me? And so that's interesting, and yeah, it's hard to talk about, and I wish that, I think we all wish that things were better, but, like, do we all really wish that? Like, you know, I'm coming to think there, like, is a point in our lives where, like, you really do come to find out that some people are just truly major POSs, you feel me? And there's not anything in this world that you can do to make them think anything different, you feel me? And again, this is a problem, right? And I'm not sure how one goes about unbrainwashing people that have been brainwashed for too long, you know, and that's kind of scary, honestly. But I think with every little conversation that we have here with each other, and with every video and things that we make to bring light and attention to these very definitely dark things that are happening, but definitely things that need to be talked about, again, because otherwise there may as well not be any law. Do you feel me? There may as well not be any point to sovereign governments, to borders, to the recognition of law. I mean, Jesus Christ. How could a person end up to any other conclusion than going down that road? You feel me? Like, and you can't blame people for reacting to the situations that are placed before them. I know that the people in Sudan, you know, I definitely send what I can, you know, so I'm trying to send some good vibes. Jesus Christ, it's really messed up what's happening there, and I wish that we could all do a little bit better to make sure that we didn't allow governments to do those kinds of things, you know, because all while we're worrying about this new 50-year mortgage, again, there's millions of people that are at risk right now of dying from famine, and that's not a good thing. So it's not a good reflection on us, I'm just saying. I hope that you guys have a really good night, okay? Thank you for watching my videos. I'm sorry about the terrible lighting. I had a situation earlier where Jackie Chan came on, and anyways, I ended up breaking that very light. It was broken anyway. I hope that you guys have a really good night, alright? And we'll see everyone real soon. Bye.